Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with part 3 of my October book haul. Again, I've got lots of books to show you. These are all new books. The last part, which I will try and link down below, it was all like second-hand books from charity shops and online second-hand bookshops. So yeah, all these are new ones. And this haul is a bit of a sort of, I'm going to call it the peer pressure book haul because yeah, there was a lot of encouragement from the online book community and a lovely new book club TV show with one of the hosts who is our very own Simon Savage from Savage Reads. If you haven't seen it, it's on Sky Arts, it's on Sunday nights, and it's very bloody good, so get it watched. It also is presented by Andy Oliver and Elizabeth Day, and it's very good. But anyway, let's get into the books. So the first one is an anthology of spooky stories, perfect for spooky season, and it's called Local Haunts, and this is a HorrorTube anthology, and there are people who are on HorrorTube that have written a book and written short stories, and one of those short stories is by our very own Dane Cobain over at Dane Reads, and I'm so excited to get to this. I haven't yet because I'm reading loads of other books for book clubs and all that kind of jazz, but I'm so excited to get to this. And if I don't in October, I will in November. Local Haunts, a HorrorTube anthology. 19 terrifying tales from a vibrant online community of horror enthusiasts. Local Haunts has taken the horror booktube community's global influence and shrunk it down into one village of horror and mayhem you'll not soon forget. Inside these pages are frightening stories from around the globe, telling tales of terrible things local to each author's place of residence. I really am so excited to get to this, and the front cover just has all the spooky season vibes, and I'm there for it. Absolutely cannot wait to get to this. The next one is a book that was talked about on the Sky Arts Book Club Live show that I was telling you about, and they actually spoke to the author of this, and she just came across as such an intelligent, vibrant, enthusiastic woman, and this book was described in such an eloquent way, and I couldn't not have it. It is The Girl with the Louding Voice. And this is an international bestseller, and it's by Abby Daré, and I cannot wait to get to this. And this edition too is just everything. It's beautiful. Inside every girl is a louding voice, a voice to speak up for herself, for the girls who came before her, and for all those who will follow. As a third wife in a small Nigerian village, 14-year-old Aduni is expected to fade into silence. But Aduni will not keep quiet. She's smart, funny and curious, with an infectiously joyful spirit, and despite adversity awaiting her at every turn, she's set on getting an education no matter what the cost. Sorry, no matter the cost. I just added "what" in there just because I'm dramatic that way. Determined not to settle for her fate, Aduni embarks on a local... On a local? There's no local there, Graham. Determined not to settle for her fate, Aduni embarks on a journey from her village to the wealthy enclaves of Lagos, a journey that will change her life, and if you listen closely, possibly yours. I just can't wait to get to this. I'm so excited. It just sounds and looks incredible. So the third book on this part of my haul is Rick by Alex Gino, and this is the follow-on to George, which tells the story of George, a little girl who wants to be in a school production of Charlotte's Web, and Rick was a character in that book, and this is his story. He's tagged along with his friend Jeff, even when Jeff's acted like a bully. He's let his dad joke with him about girls, even though it makes him feel uncomfortable. Everyone around him seems to think that they've figured him out, but the truth is, Rick hasn't given his own identity much thought. Now Rick's in middle school, and it's a place of new possibilities. With the help of his new friends that he meets at the Rainbow Spectrum Club, Rick embarks on a journey to find out who he truly is. An inspiring story about finding your place in the world. And I can't wait to get to it, because I adored George. I thought it was just a brilliant book. And this feels like it's going to be exactly the same. It's going to have those feels, and I can't wait. So the next one is another peer pressure purchase. This was a recommendation by Simon Savage when he was doing his little recommendation slot on the Sky Arts Book Club Live. And I can't wait to get to this. Not only is this a gorgeous book to look at, this story sounds really intriguing and heartbreakingly sad as well. Here is The Beehive by Sarah Crossan. I mean, isn't that just gorgeous? I mean, the bees are picked out and sort of like, they're shiny, but the rest of the book cover is matte. I just can't wait. This is told in verse, and it is about a woman who has been having an affair with a man. The man dies, and she's left with nothing. She can't grieve, she can't outwardly grieve because she's been having an affair with this man. He's not hers. And I think it deals with that. Sounds so intriguing and, like I say, heartbreaking. I mean, I don't agree with like extramarital affairs and all this kind of stuff, but I think that makes for a really compelling story, especially done in the way it's been done, being written in verse. What happens when you lose something the world never knew was yours? Anna and Connor have been having an affair for 3 years, in hotel rooms and coffee shops, swiftly deleted texts and briefly snatched weekends. They have built a world with none but the two of them in it. But then the unimaginable happens, and Anna finds herself alone, trapped inside her secret. How can we lose someone the world never knew was ours? How do we grieve for something no one else can ever find out? And in her desperate bid for answers, Anna seeks out the shadowy figure who has always stood just beyond her reach, Connor's wife, Rebecca. Peeling away the layers of 2 overlapping marriages, Here is the Beehive is a devastating excavation of risk, obsession, and loss. I will be reading this in November because A, it's a quick read, and B, I need to know how that idea has been put into these pages. I need to know, because that sounds absolutely incredible. But like I say, I don't agree with the extramarital affairs. So on to the next one. I saw this in Tesco's the other day, and I thought about getting it, and then I didn't, and then I thought about getting it, and then I didn't, and I eventually got it. So yeah, it is Life in Pieces, Thoughts from a Year That Changed Us All by Dawn O. Porter. And this is about her life in lockdown, and I just love how the front cover has a blog roll on it. I mean, wasn't that such a big thing at the start of the coronavirus pandemic? Everybody was buying toilet paper. You couldn't get it anywhere. I remember picking up a pack of 32 Cushell toilet roll in Tesco's. I think it was like literally 2 days after lockdown was announced, and my manager and I had closed down the hotel. So this was the 25th, and everything was terrifying. It was all scary. Yeah, I don't think the queues had started outside supermarkets, but on my way home I popped into Tesco's because we needed a few bits and pieces, and I thought, well, we're probably not going to get delivery slots and all that. That might be all up in the air. But anyway, I picked up a packet of loo rolls, a 32 pack, because it was all they had and we needed it. And I was coming down the escalator, leaving the Tesco superstore, and this old couple were coming up the opposite side, and they were really, really rude about me to each other. There were swear words, and there were accusations that I was stealing other people's toilet paper. I paid for that loo roll, okay? We needed it. needed it. But anyway, I'm digressing. This sounds fabulous. Donald Porter has been thinking about life in lockdown, mostly from a cupboard. The highs and lows, finding comfort in the chaos, and the new normal that is anything but. Life in Pieces is a book for anyone who's been thrown into a life they didn't plan, or who just wants to stick it to 2020. When everything's falling apart, we'll piece it back together. I can't wait to get to that. It sounds amazing. It's kind of, I think it's in sort of like diary form, but it's not. I made that up. I pulled that out of the sky. But yeah, this sounds really, really funny. And yeah, can't wait to get to it. So the next one is another of Simon Savage's Sky Arts Book Club Live recommendations. And this was another one that I'd seen in Tesco's, of all places, a couple of times. And as soon as I heard Simon talk about it, it made it sound so much better than how I had interpreted the synopsis. And I just can't wait to get to this. This sounds absolutely incredible, and it's so prevalent to now, to how people live their lives with social media, and all that aspect of like online dating. And yeah, I just can't wait to get to it. It's Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. And this cover as well, what a gorgeous colour scheme. I mean, it's just really pretty and it works, and it's just, I love it. This tells the story of Nina Dean, who is a food writer. Nina Dean has arrived at her early 30s as a successful food writer with loving friends and family, plus a new home and neighbourhood, when she meets Max, a beguiling romantic hero who tells her on the first date that he's going to marry her. It feels like it's all going to plan. Sorry, it feels like all is going to plan. Again, one of these days I'll learn to read. My goodness. So the next book is another of Simon Savage's Sky Arts Book Club Live recommendations. And it was another one that I had seen a couple of times previously, but hadn't picked up. I like the sound of it, but the way that Simon described it on the book club show, he just made it sound so much better than I had interpreted the synopsis, if that makes sense. It's Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. I just love this. It's so pretty. This tells the story of Nina Dean, who is a food writer. She's in her early 30s, and she feels dissatisfied that life didn't live up to what she was told it would when she hit her 30s. I can't wait to get to this. This just sounds so good. Nina Dean has arrived at her early 30s as a successful food writer with loving friends and family, plus a new home and neighbourhood, when she meets Max, a beguiling romantic hero who tells her on date 1 that he's going to marry her. It feels like all is going to plan. A new relationship couldn't have come at a better time. Her 30s have not been the liberating, uncomplicated experience she was sold. Everywhere she turns, she is reminded of time passing and opportunities dwindling. Friendships are fading, ex-boyfriends are moving on, and worse, everyone's moving to the suburbs. There's no solace to be found in her family, with a mum who's caught in a baffling midlife makeover and a beloved dad who is vanishing in slow motion into dementia. Dolly Alderton's debut novel is funny and tender, filled with whip-smart observations about relationships, family, memory, and how we live now. And I just need that to go from there into there because it sounds fabulous. I'm not usually a fan of sort of what I'm going to say is chick lit. I don't feel that this is necessarily chick lit, although it may fall under that category. But it just sounds amazing. And if Simon Savage says something's good, it's going to be good. I mean, he raved about From the Wreck by Jane Rawson, and I bought that and absolutely fell in love with it. It was incredible. So I trust Simon's word when he says that a book is good. it's going to be. So yeah. So another one that I've seen everywhere online, and I actually had this on pre-order, but when the day for the pre-order came to be dispatched, it was put back for like, it was about a week and a half or 2 weeks or something. So I cancelled the pre-order out of sheer annoyance, because I really wanted my hands on this book, because I'd heard that it was amazing. And I just decided the other day, you know, it's saying that I can get it next day delivery, so here it is. It's Hag, the Forgotten Folktales Retold. And I'm not even sure who this is by. I think it might be by lots of people. Who is... So the preface is by Professor Caroline Larrington, and there's stories from Daisy Johnson, Irenison Okiji, Kirsty Logan, Masuda Snaith, Amar McBride, Liv Little, Daisy Johnson, Naomi Booth, Emma Glass, Natasha Carthew, Imogen Hermes Gower. I've not heard of any of those apart from Amar McBride and Kirsty Logan. So yeah, a little collection of sort of forgotten folk tales that have been retold. And I believe that these have been retold from a feminist point of view, which I am so there for. Dark, potent, and uncanny, Hag bursts with the untold stories of our isles, captured in voices as varied as they are vivid. Here are sisters fighting for the love of the same woman, a pregnant archaeologist unearthing impossible bones, and lost children following you home. A panther runs through the forests of England, and pixies prey upon violent men. From the islands of Scotland to the coast of Cornwall, the mountains of Galway to the depths of the fens, these forgotten folktales howl, cackle, and sing their way into the 21st century, wildly reimagined by some of the most exciting women writing in Britain and Ireland today. And was there a design under there? No, there wasn't. I thought there might have been, but there wasn't. I can't wait to get to this. And again, another perfect one for spooky season. And it's just beautiful. I mean, that is just stunning. I have no words. I love it. I'm in love with it. And I can't wait to read it. So, the next one is another recommendation from Simon Savage. I don't remember if he recommended this on the Sky Arts Book Club Live, but he certainly recommended it during one of his weekly vlogs on his channel. And it is Homestretch by Graham Norton. I think this sounds absolutely incredible. But like I said in my previous video, I have only read one Graham Norton book up until this moment. And I bought this before I got the previous book that I hauled in my previous video. A Keeper, I believe it was called. Yes. Shame and longing can run through generations, but the secrets of the heart will not be buried forever. It is 1987, and a small Irish community is preparing for a wedding. The day before the ceremony, a group of young friends, including the bride and groom, drive out to the beach. There is an accident. 3 survive, but 3 are killed. The lives of the families are shattered, and the rifts between them are felt throughout the small town. Connor is one of the survivors, but staying among the angry and the mourning is almost as hard as living with the shame of having been the driver. He leaves the only place he knows for another life, taking his secrets with him, travelling first to Liverpool, then London. He makes a home of sorts for himself in New York. The city provides shelter and possibility for the displaced. Somewhere Connor can forget his past and forge a new life. But the secrets, the unspoken longings and regrets that have come to haunt those left behind will not be silenced. And before long, Connor will have to confront his past. Graham Norton's powerful and timely novel of emigration and return demonstrates his keen understanding of the power of stigma and secrecy, with devastating results. I just can't wait to get to it. I just need to get to every single book ever, because I've got so many to read, and deciding which one to read next is so difficult, because when I pick a new one up, I'm just like, wow, that has to be my next read. And then I pick another one up and I'm like, wow, when I'll get to this, I don't know, but I'm excited to, because it does sound really good. So the final book in this haul is a book that goes along with a documentary that my husband Duncan and I watched on Netflix. I found this documentary exceptionally confronting, and especially with the climate that we are in nowadays, with plastic in the oceans and littering and overconsumption and landfill sites and all that kind of unhealthy stuff for the planet. This documentary really hit home for me, and it's kind of scary, but I think it was designed to be that way, to give you a shock. And when I saw this book, I couldn't not have it. It is A Life on Our Planet: My Witness Statement and a Vision for the Future by David Attenborough. David Attenborough is a wildlife commentator, conservator, and a personality. And I think he's been knighted, I'm fairly certain. Let me see. Sir David was knighted in 1985. So yes, I am 94. I've had an extraordinary life. It's only now that I appreciate how extraordinary. As a young man, I felt I was out there in the wild, experiencing the untouched natural world. But it was an illusion. The tragedy of our time has been happening all around us, barely noticeable from day to day, the loss of our planet's wild places, its biodiversity. I have been witness to this decline. A Life on Our Planet is my witness statement and a vision for the future. It is the story of how we came to make this our greatest mistake, and how if we act now, we can put it right. We can yet put it right. We have one final chance to create the perfect home for ourselves and restore the wonderful world we inherited. All we need is the will to do so. And this book also underneath is so beautifully well designed. I just love it. It's gorgeous. The documentary, like I say, it was really confronting. It was really hard-hitting and uncomfortable to watch, because we are all guilty of doing things that are not good for our planet. Most of us drive cars, which is fossil fuel. Most of us will not recycle plastics. I have never littered the streets, because if I ever did, my mother, when I was a kid, would smack my bum. And I think most of that was because she didn't want to be like fined and in trouble, but it instilled in me that it was wrong, and it's not something that we should do, because our planet is a living thing, and it's important to us, because without our planet, where would we be? We need to turn the clock back and make a change, because, you know, the world won't last forever. It's a dying thing, which is terrifying to think of. But yeah. Anyway, here I go, blathering on again. But it's quite confronting, and I think we all need to do our little parts to make the change. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.